meals, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding.
To learn more, go to safeplacetosleep.org.
Hey Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune into Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Your heart beats for generations.
Your heart is so many things. It beats all the time, and it works very hard to keep you moving through your day, keeping your thoughts clear. It's the most important organ in your body.
Every beat of your heart tells a story of love, resilience, and hope. Taking care of your heart means creating more moments with the ones you cherish. Learn more at hennepin.us/heart-beats. That's hennepin.us/heart-beats.
What does it mean to begin? Creation Story explores Native origin stories through powerful contemporary art, connecting past and present with every brushstroke in sculpture. Explore how identity, culture, and resilience are shaped through art. Creation Story, now at All My Relations Arts through July 26th. This exhibition invites you to the heart of the Ochate-Shikowin storytelling, where spiritual relatives guide the way. Open to all. Learn more at allmyrelationsarts.org. Experience the beginning. Experience Creation Story at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis.
Rudy Luther Toyota is the dealer you can trust. Go to rudyluthertoyota.com to browse their inventory of new and certified pre-owned vehicles. Style, performance, and reliability. You can find it all at Rudy Luther. With every new and certified pre-owned vehicle, you'll get a Luther Advantage card, save 10 cents per gallon at the pump, and get $6 Works car washes at Holiday Station stores. That's right. You can get a great vehicle and help stretch your budget even further. Rudy Luther Toyota, the southeast corner of 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and storms possible late tonight with a low of 68. Then Friday, rain and storms expected with a high of 86. Grab a tray at Cafe Latte and pick from their award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and desserts. Cafe Latte is at Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul or at cafelatte.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kudahy to all my friends and relatives. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Hade. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, we have our friend Rutha Buffalo on, and I want to say a big hood to Rutha. Thank you so much for being on. CEO of Minnesota Indian Resource Center here in the Twin Cities. Thank you again for being on.
Yeah, Dosha, hello, and Madzigadods. Thank you for having us.
Right on. Hey, I just missed checking in last week with you and what's going on, and I'm wondering if you could give us an update of what's happening at Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center.
Sure. Tomorrow we have our summer market, so we're pretty excited. It is all day tomorrow. Stop by in the community room, the gym, and check out all of the vendors and artists and all of the crafts that will be here on site. free of charge. And we're also having an egg roll sale and a walking taco sale, and all proceeds will go to support the Red Bear youth basketball team.
Wow, that's great. Like to bring up all the good things that you guys do there. Can you give our listening audience who maybe have never listened to my show, our show, talk about the great work and how people around Turtle Island can support you, and also talk good things about this organization, which I know has been around for 40 years and has done such outstanding work, and still keeps it up, and all the things that you have going on. If you don't mind, bring those up to our listening audience.
Sure. Yeah. Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center. We serve American Indian women and their families. We offer a comprehensive approach in providing support in a number of ways to individuals, families, and the community. Everything from a drop-in center to a meal program to learning center, to gender-based violence support, housing support, and family services. So we're super proud of our staff and super proud to be serving the community.
Yeah, and we're super proud here on Native Roots Radio to just be a part of a small part of your work, and trying to amplify the good things that you do, Ruth Anna. And we've had a kind of a long relationship. You've been on the show for quite a few years, and I just really appreciate you and all the good energy that comes from you, and that bleeds into the organization that you're leading. There's such great people, and we've had a few guests on over the past few weeks, and it's just been mind-blowing how dedicated your staff is.
Yes, I am super proud of our staff and thankful. We have a lot of big-hearted community members here that are a part of the team and really give selflessly and really care about each and every person that comes through our doors. We opened our doors this past winter to help with the Emergency Warming Center, and things sort of bloomed and grew from there. And we're trying to do our part as community members to make sure we are fulfilling our responsibilities and helping to be a good relative to each other.
Oh, you definitely are. And the exciting news is, can you remind me when the grand opening of the new units are going to be upstairs? That is so exciting. You can talk a little bit about that, because again, we have unhoused relatives and people that are in need in our community, that Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center is really picking up a lot of the slack.
Thank you. Yes, and this work, has been ongoing over the years, and so we're just happy to try to push and carry things forward. So we are on target to have 6 of the tenant units upstairs occupied by August 22nd. So that is right around the corner next month. And Corey Basler is our housing coordinator. He's been very dynamic in helping, all of us get ready for next month. And it's a big deal to have finally our tenant spaces, occupied upstairs. They look beautiful. It's been quite the process, in watching the entire top 2 floors be vacated and then completely demolished and gutted with new electrical, new plumbing, everything brand new. So it'll be 24 units, 20 of which will be efficiencies and 4 will be single units for disabilities. So that'll be 12 on each floor. So a change from 7 and 7 on each floor previously.
That's really great. And also, I think last time you said this, now help me with my memory, because I'm getting old. I'm a junior elder, but I still feel like I'm getting old. Is that it'll be furnished too for our relatives?
Yes, that is correct, with all of the amenities. I always get that confused. I don't know why I think of like a different word, like a biology word, but it must be that old biology major. No, I'm just kidding. Signing through, but yeah, amenities. I was getting that word mixed up for the longest time, but yes, they will be furnished, and they are beautiful apartments, units. We're told that they are actually even bigger than what is on the market in the area. And a lot of natural lighting, large windows. So very nice.
And it's a place to heal, to get better, to maybe rejoin the community, or maybe people have just run on some rough times, and I just feel like that is such a great work that Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center does.
For sure, and that's exactly it. Is we want to be a place where people come to get nurtured, get loved up, get back on their healing path, or on a new path forward. And so it's very beautiful and very. We recognize the importance and of taking care of one another and handling all of it with care and love. So we're super thankful to be able to help the community in this way, and we look forward to many more years in serving the community.
Well, I always like to ask this too, especially to leaders like yourself that are boots on the ground, is what do you do to take care of Rutha Buffalo, and what does your staff do? I know there's a lot of things for our community. Do you participate, or I know you play a little basketball there, and I know and you have a great family. So, what do you do personally, and what does the organization do to keep their self grounded in a good way?
For sure. I just went home back to Mandaree over the weekend, and it was very nice to be back, at my mom's house and sleep underneath her roof and eat her cooking and her biscuits. So definitely, I would say laughter is one of the common themes that we do here at MIWRC, whether it's playing jokes on one another or pranks or eating. We love to eat, come together and share a meal. And so I guess we're all foodies, and we love to laugh and joke. But yeah, I also like to swim. I love to swim, and it was fun this past weekend hanging out with the family and seeing my little twin nephews whose birthdays are today. They turned 7. So happy birthday, Colin and Colton. And yeah, they're really good little swimmers. So I'm pretty proud of them.
So there's only 30 seconds left, but I got to ask you this. Do you do the cold weather swimming too, that I know a lot of native people do?
I'm interested. I'm very interested. I was introduced recently to the cold plunge, or the thermoculture polar place on West Lake Street, where you do sauna and cold plunge, and pretty cool, pretty beneficial to your health as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for stopping in and checking back into our community here on Native Roots Radio. You're a big part of it, and again, a big Peeny Gigi. Thank you, Rutha Buffalo, CEO of Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center. Big Peeny Gigi. Thank you.
Matzgrats.
Rudy Luther Toyota has a great way for you to purchase your next vehicle. It's the Toyota Smart Path. You can shop at the dealership or on your couch. Shop smarter by saving time, and remember, they'll have the best prices and no surprises. You can browse the available vehicles, use the Smart Path payment estimator to customize your own payments, apply for financing, and then finalize your purchase. Smart Path is the smartest path to your new vehicle. Check it out online at rudyluthertoyota.com or stop by Rudy Luther Toyota, 5 miles west of Minneapolis on 394.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with MIWRC. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. MIWRC dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune into MIWRC on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Your heart beats for generations. Take care of it.
There's a lot that we can do to take care of ourselves. And so I think it's important to take the smaller steps and break it down into more manageable pieces, because the little steps leads to big changes.
Every beat of your heart tells a story of love, resilience, and hope. For Indigenous women, taking care of your heart means creating more moments with the ones you cherish. Let's protect that story. Learn more at hennepin.us/heart-beats.
Four Sisters Farmers Market is more than a place to shop for delicious organic food. It's a celebration of Indigenous culture, food sovereignty, and community. Now in its 11th season, the market offers healthy, affordable, culturally appropriate local foods every Thursday from 11 to 3. Located on the American Indian Cultural Corridor off Franklin Avenue, Four Sisters Farmers Market is a project of NAGD. Every Thursday now through October, discover more about Four Sisters Farmers Market by visiting nagd.org.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we have our friend Robert Lilligren on, and really good to see you again twice in one day. I feel totally blessed, and it's great to see you, and it was great being on the Avenue today.
Yeah, bonjour, Robert. It was great to see you at Four Sisters Farmers Market today. It was a good day in the market.
Yeah, definitely. And there was a great presentation, and there was a lot of people watching. I took a few pictures of that. And then we had a chance to have the drink that she was making too, and I really, it was really good.
Yeah, I couldn't stand this. So Simone Rendon was doing the demonstration to do it. Daughter of the author Marcy Rendon. I think that's kind of cool. Marcy's often at the market with Simone, and she did a demonstration. And so I'm glad you were able to taste it. I had to run inside for a meeting. Then we had a professional videographer there today doing some shots and things. And it's so cool to think of when the market started. It was, I think, 3 vendors, 3 tents, parking lot across the street. And now it's what it is, which is like an event. It's kind of the place to see and be seen on the American Indian Corridor.
Absolutely. And the food truck was out there, and I got to finally take a few pictures of the great art on the Powwow Grounds food truck, which is so inspiring and such and it's funny too. It's yellow too, just like the building. I just realized that.
Oh yeah, I know that's intentional. I'm sure. Robert Rice, who owns Powwow Grounds Coffee Shop, is the proprietor of the Fry Bread Factory food truck, and he just got it wrapped recently, and the community's super excited about that. And it is yellow like the building, like our building. And then he has honored a lot of our ancestors, our departed leadership, in art on the side. On one side, the other side has dancers, powwow dancers, and it's just really striking.
You know, it's funny too. I recognize a few of the people for sure, and I know 2 of them, Frank, the late Frank Perro, and the late Clyde Belcourt, hung out at the coffee shop pretty often.
All the time. A lot of those AIM guys did. And so it's nice to honor them. Frank's wife, Dawn Perro, is often there, and she's made comments about, I think Frank never realized he'd be on the side of a food truck. You know, it's a cool way of honoring people.
Yeah, it really, really is. And I always loved the great vibe there. I got to see a few friends, and also, get to see, being a former high school teacher, I always run into a few people
students,
former students, but I also too run into, every time, it's funny, I run into people that listen to the show. So it's like
people like to listen. Oh, from one of the vendors today, I picked up a new choker. Here, I'm showing it to you, and it's gorgeous, perfect colors for me. And I like this length. It's a little shorter. I have another one like this that was gifted to me. That it just fits. I have to wear a lot of dress shirts or and jackets and things, and that's just a really good length to go under that. So that's exciting.
Yeah, that's great. I like that for me. Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're here. I give it to you.
Yeah, that tradition's kind of gotten watered down over the years, and we can talk about that for a second. But everyone seems to say, "Well, that was a gift," and so when somebody gifts something, you can't gift it to somebody else. Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, it's nobody on the air saw that, but the people that watch us on Facebook, and it's probably good to mention that we are on Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, and that you can watch us too, and laugh at my hairdo and my receding hairline, and things like that. But it's always good for me because since COVID, for sure, Robert, we haven't had guests in the studio, and this has been just
Sure.
a great way and an easy way to converse to
Right.
relatives all over Turtle Island.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. And just how we've adapted, right, since COVID. Before COVID, I had some online meetings, was part of national conversations and stuff. But then with COVID, of course, we went 100% remote, and we just got so used to being online and seeing each other in little boxes, like I'm looking at you right now. And so now it's just about a third to half of my day today was in online meetings, with a fair amount of in-person stuff, which is always nice. And you can get so much done. Your guest earlier, Ruth Buffalo, was in probably 3 online meetings with her today, maybe 4. So yeah, that's kind of the risk of doing online meetings is you can have so many of them because you don't have to travel in between them.
It was great listening to Ruth Anna Buffalo. The last segment is I always try to do this too, especially people that are intensely boots on the ground like yourself and her. Is what do you do to protect your soul and rejuvenate and take care of your personal? And she said swimming, which I thought was great because I know she plays basketball from the old
Right.
days. And so, Robert, what do you do?
So first off, with Ruth Buffalo, she is quite an athlete, and she's very
Yeah.
strong and she's very competitive. I understand. I haven't competed with her. So one of my practices that I learned early on in my elected life when I was on the Minneapolis City Council was I am very deliberate about understanding myself in my role, my public role, and then really separating that from my sort of self, my private self. And I was taught at Kennedy School to be deliberate about it, to be almost ritualistic, right? And so that I'm clear when I'm being in my role and the public stuff that I do, and when I'm being myself, my private stuff. And I know it sounds kind of goofy and maybe a little mystical, but it's, I think, really protected me through this, sometimes bumpy or whatever, turbulent kind of public life, elected life, things like that. And so for me, it's clothes, right? So when I'm going out to be Robert Lilligren, the city council member, Met council member, or CEO, it's what I put on. And then when I come home, I put on what I think of as my play clothes, right? When we were kids. And then I'm home, I'm me, right? And sometimes those have to blend, but it's a good survival technique for me to really be clear about when I'm public Robert and when I'm private.
That's funny. A couple things. Wendy introduced me 20 some years ago to loungewear, and that's what I'm wearing right now. And also, I have to be careful, Robert, because COVID did something. When I was a high school teacher, I showered and shaved every day, and now it's sometimes 2 or 3 days. I kind of forget that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, thanks for the warning. That is it's funny. My husband had just retired, maybe 2 months ago now. We were just talking about that this morning and the importance of committing to a hygiene regimen when he's retired. Otherwise, no one's going to want to hang out around you.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because it's kind of stupid, but I do I work out in the morning, and then of course I don't want to shower before that, and then all of a sudden I just push it off, and next thing you know, 2 days are gone by, and my hair's greasy, I'm greasy, and yeah, I better take a shower no matter what.
Right. Yeah. Right. And online, who really cares? I remember when we first started working remotely, I think I had 14 different online meeting apps on my work computer here, my laptop. I think it was 14. And they would kind of interfere with each other and things would get complicated. So now I'm down to to very few. You know, I have of course, Zoom, everyone has it, Teams, everyone has it, occasionally a Google Meet, and then the StreamYard here, and that's about it. But yeah, it was a new world back then.
Yeah.
And you only had to dress, appropriately. Yeah. It was waist up, something, presentable, waist down sweats, right?
Well, it was interesting too. I don't know if you saw this, but years ago, and I think it was right in the middle of COVID, there was a person who had a cat app on, and he was in court and he couldn't get it off.
It's an attorney.
That just popped up on my feed again.
That was hilarious. Lots of good memes came out of that era.
Yeah. My former producer Ogama gave me a cup too that says "You're on mute," so I could show that to the people that were on. But that's, heck, now I'm on mute more than the guests.
Yeah, I only did one big off mute blunder during that whole era. I think that's pretty good.
Oh, do tell.
What's that? Oh,
do tell.
Yeah. I was in a group meeting and something was said that surprised me. And so I thought I was off mute, and I turned to my husband, Steve, and I said, yes, person X just dumped all over me or something like that. And which, isn't that unusual when you're in leadership and stuff, but I wouldn't have said it to the whole group. Right.
Right.
The facilitators are being said, I'm sorry, what? Did someone say something? Put myself on mute and went forward more cautiously.
Well, I think we all have those stories for sure. Hey, we're here with Robert Lilligren, CEO of Native American Community Development Institute in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis. And I think we've had enough fun. We're going to have to talk a little politics
more
next
serious. Okay.
Right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called MIWRC's Real Roast Beef. MIWRC's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. MIWRC's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, MIWRCsbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Your time is precious. Why are you still mowing your own lawn? I'm Alex Knorr, a young, hardworking entrepreneur serving the Southwest Metro with affordable lawn care. At Buzzcut Mowing, I offer weekly mowing, leaf cleanups, aeration, dethatching, tree trimming, and mulch installation. I work hard so you can relax and enjoy time with family and friends. Call today and I'll handle the rest. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com. That's buzzcutmowingmn.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The month of July is National Carpet Cleaning Month, and because of that, Zero Res is offering a purchase of 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, get 1 room free, plus $50 off an air duct cleaning. Maybe you're having a barbecue for the 4th of July. We'll also have Aquatennial coming up in Minneapolis later this month. You want to make sure your home is fresh and clean for your friends and family coming over to celebrate. If your carpet's looking more like a snowbank in late March, muddy, crunchy, and kind of mysterious, it's time to call Zero Res, don't you know? These folks come in with their fancy schmancy ZR water. It's like regular water, but with a master's degree in cleanliness. Zero Res can handle it all. Carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery, air ducts, basically every surface in your home can be Zero Resified. So it's time to call the cleaning pros at Zero Res today. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 952-ZERO-RES and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP, or visit snapconstruction.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and storms possible late tonight with a low of 68. Then Friday, rain and storms expected with a high of 86. Grab a tray at Cafe Latte and pick from their award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and desserts. Cafe Latte is at Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul, or at cafelatte.com. ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Oh, this is Dallas Goldtooth, and you're listening to the Native Roots Radio. Hoka, hicha, wecha.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'm here with Robert Lilligren, CEO of Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and pretty based on the Franklin Avenue Native Corridor and all the great work that's happening. Now, I want to switch gears here a little bit. And I don't know, it's been a few days and, we get into this 24-hour news cycle. And we've talked about it since Monday about Ann Coulter and her comments about we should have killed more Indians. Your thoughts, or do you even want to comment on that?
It's so foul, and I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to advance her whatever profile, but it's shocking, it's disgusting, it's so not what a decent person says. And so in today's biggest daily here in the Twin Cities, the Minnesota Star Tribune, there was a op-ed piece by Anton Troyer about it, and that's what it is, and he's very smart and learned. And I don't read the comments at the Star Tribune anymore since I was in public office because they're so foul, right? So I don't read them. But one of my staff was saying what really bugged them was how many people agreed with the commenter, right? And I mean, that's what's so scary about these times we're living in. I mean, these feelings were always there, but decency kind of kept them a little more submerged. And now people feel that they have free reign to be as disgustingly racist as they want to be.
Yeah, a really good point. And I believe that it's really come from the top down. And again, I bring this up all the time, but I remember when the first time around that the orange one was president, there were red hats going on that said, make racists afraid again. And it's the opposite right now. And you're kind of alluding to carte blanche of being able to say anything mean to anyone that they've been feeling the whole time, and feeling slighted and attacking people, and a lot of times vulnerable people.
Right. And then these comments and these statements that come from high profile leadership, like our current president, empower people, right? They empower people to act. And when you have a sitting president doing a speech, I think it was in Iowa this week, wasn't it? Where he said, I hate Democrats. I hate them. So first off, the president's supposed to represent everybody in the country. So I don't know where anyone think they could get off saying something like that. But then his audience, who we know, are quick to violence and quick to respond, that gives them permission, right, to act on this hate. And I think it's just a very dangerous way to manipulate power.
Right. And, we have to keep talking about this because, again, sometimes I believe our mainstream media has really normalized things like this, and we have to talk about how wrong it is and how hurtful it is and how You know, the Democratic Party has their problems, but empathy, I don't think, is one of them.
Right, right. And then you have major news platforms or networks that are capitulating to the president, that are settling lawsuits for huge sums of money that they would be the ones I would hope would be the defenders of a free press, right? But instead they're just succumbing.
Yeah. Well, and the sad part two of this week was what happened in Texas. And I truly believe, and it's hard. There's two things that I believe about what happened in Texas with the floods. One is global warming, and two is the cuts that the administration has made to the weather people.
Those two things contribute, and then this kind of cultural unwillingness to invest in safety measures, right? One of the officials on the ground in Texas said, well, the taxpayers wouldn't pay for an alarm system. And I mean, this is why we elect people to do this for us, to do what's right, instead of what the voters care about, or not care about, but their positions. And so I think there was a long time, a lead up to allow for a catastrophe like this. And now, as more investigation comes forward, there's a lot of things that were wrong with the campsite, for example, that people shouldn't have been sleeping where they were, and then you have these Republicans saying, "Oh, this isn't a time to point fingers. This isn't a time to assign blame," and say, "Well, that would be the first thing you would do." When there were fires in Los Angeles, right? It was the governor's fault, the mayor's fault, the
Biden's fault.
Right? Biden's fault, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I guess what do we say? What's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. Somebody should be accountable.
It's interesting too, Robert. They said the same thing whenever there's a mass shooting. That we shouldn't be talking about. Well, when should we? It's fresh in people's mind, and we talk about a 24-hour cycle. I have a question. When you were a city council member, and I just ended my term as a Ho-Chunk
congratulations.
legislator. Yeah, I made it through the 4 years, and I got matter of fact, I should have talked to you today when I saw you, but I might see if I can run again. Somebody is running for Congress that's a legislator out of a District 1, and I want to see, well, we'll talk off camera.
All right, let's talk.
But I had a question. When you were city council, when you had to make tough decisions, you didn't worry about the vote or being reelected. You worried about doing the right thing. Isn't that what you were alluding to earlier?
That's exactly right, Robert. And my experience, and I know people have different experiences, but, I would vote in the best interest of the city and the best interest of my constituents. Sometimes it wasn't even with positions that I would necessarily personally agree with. But again, I wasn't just there to represent myself. I was there to represent 33,000 people, and as part of a city of, nearly 500,000. But what I learned was that, I would come to decisions, especially controversial ones or difficult ones. I'd be as informed as I can. I would engage with my constituents as much as I could and then get to my decision. And if I could stand in front of my constituents and explain my pathway and my thinking to the vote that I took or the position that I stated, even if people didn't agree with me at the end of the day, they were on some level satisfied, right? That I wasn't being arbitrary, that I wasn't representing special interests, that I was being thoughtful. And I really respected constituents, especially when they didn't agree with me, when we could stand there and express our differing opinions and respect them, right? And at the end of the day, I was the one with the election certificate on the wall. I was the one that was accountable for those decisions that I made.
Yeah, and I know from my experience, sometimes it's hard. And one of the things that came out on TikTok, and I just want to touch base with this and not really dwell in it, but as you know, some of the nations gave money to Trump's parade, and not the army parade, but the
inaugural.
Yeah, the inaugural parade. Thank you. And my nation did too, and $50,000, and that's a lot of money. But also, I hate to tell you how much we gave the Republicans. I mean, the Democrats was way more than that. And you always want to keep your toe in the water, because you are going to have to work with ththese people, and you
Right.
can't shun them. But there's some backlash happening out there. The other tribes that gave a heck of a lot more than Ho Chunk did, but still, it was a hard decision, but it was a political decision.
Right. And so, I'm not the one making that decision, and I want to really acknowledge that. And so the tribe has to do what they think is best for the tribe. And there's a certain amount of access or potential access that a contribution like that can generate. 50,000 is a lot of money. I would say just give it to the people, but that wasn't my choice. And the tribe needs to be accountable to its citizens for doing that. And so I'm sure they deliberated long and hard. Like you said, it's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money in the grand scheme, right? A lot of people contributed a lot more. And then to me, there's the contribution, but then there's how the tribe behaves, right? Does it still uphold indigenous values? Does it still respect its citizens and its non-citizens and respect people? Or did it just throw the DEI baby out with the bathwater, like so many corporations and other organizations have been willing to do?
Absolutely. Well, and to make that clear, that was my vote. I was one of the people, but I did vote against it, but that it did pass, and the legislature of Ho Chunk Nation did give the money to Trump. But there's things that you have to do, you like to say, to have a door open for you, for your people. And believe you me, I got a few texts and calls yesterday when that was brought up all over TikTok.
In favor of the contribution or in favor of your no vote?
They wanted to know what happened, and I had just told them the situation. I didn't really say, well, I voted no, but the Twin Cities people voted no, and but we didn't win because at the time there was 13 legislators voting on it, and it's just hard, and we have to agree that we did this. We can't hide from what we've done.
Right. And those difficult votes, sometimes they are even those opposition votes, right? Sometimes I had the experience where I was just keeping a door open for the next conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would rarely vote yes just to get along. Almost never. I can remember one kind of interesting vote, but I found that sometimes it's harder to vote no, right? I'd have to be better prepared to defend my position and things. And I remember my first big no vote, and I remember joking, or I wasn't joking, but someone said, "Oh, you got to go take that vote now, right?" And I'm like, "Yep, I'm going to go down with a yelp, right? I'm not going quietly." So it's an interesting place to be when you're representing the interests of other people.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and everyone laughed when I said this, and I said this a lot, and they thought I was a comedian too, somewhat. But I'd say, in a good way. We're doing this in a good way, and I truly believe that our heart is in it for the people, and we need to protect our own people. And well, you're retired, and you also have a lot of people that you mentor in the political realm, so you know how it goes.
I'm retired from elected office, not from work.
Oh, no, you're not. You're never going to retire. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. I got Robert Lilligren with us, Native American Community Development Institute and White Earth Ojibwe citizen. We'll be right back.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Your heart beats for generations.
Your heart is so many things. It beats all the time, and it works very hard to keep you moving through your day, keeping your thoughts clear. It's the most important organ in your body.
Every beat of your heart tells a story of love, resilience, and hope. Taking care of your heart means creating more moments with the ones you cherish. Learn more at hennepin.us/heart-beats. That's hennepin.us/heart-beats.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The easy all-in-one plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus many extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
Four Sisters Farmers Market is more than a place to shop for delicious organic food. It's a celebration of Indigenous culture, food sovereignty, and community. Now in its 11th season, the market offers healthy, affordable, culturally appropriate local foods every Thursday from 11 to 3. Located on the American Indian Cultural Corridor off Franklin Avenue, Four Sisters Farmers Market is a project of NACD. Every Thursday now through October, discover more about Four Sisters Farmers Market by visiting nacd.org.
Annie, and I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'm with Robert Lilligren, CEO of Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis, and this is our time kind of talk a little more politics here. I'm seeing reports that ICE is around in the Twin Cities, and we need to be alert and aware for our relatives. And when this first came up too, the president of Ho-Chunk Nation made sure that we had IDs that were that we could use nationally. He would pay, the nation would pay for what is it called when you go to a different country?
The tribal ID, a passport.
A passport, yes, thank you. And the nation would pay for a passport. So there's things to do, but I just want to tell everyone to be alert, and that this ICE thing and the thing happening in California with the military and all that is just a prelude to what may be happening. So we all have to be really vigilant, Robert.
Right, vigilant for us, for our relatives, for our immigrant friends and relatives. And I was really impressed with how quickly the tribes shifted into getting tribal IDs into their citizens' hands, right? And I was talking to someone not that long ago, a government kind of person, about that, and they were really interested, and they didn't quite make the connection why. And I said, well, a lot of our relatives, our tribal citizens, are pretty dark-skinned, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just concerned that they'll be kind of just swept up with any other brown person. And this person was really surprised and a little incredulous that would happen. And there was a couple other Native people in this conversation, and I said, well, it's already happening. It's already happening, right? And they're like, really? Really? And it just goes to that kind of invisibility around Native people, Indigenous people, right? That this person, yeah. And to that, I wanted to share something with you, Robert, because you were part of this work. And, I serve on our regional government. I'm a representative on our Metropolitan Council. And over the last year or so, we've convened our American Indian Advisory Council, of which you've been a participant and a Ho-Chunk rep. It's predominantly Dakota Lakota people. This is Dakota Lakota homeland, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Ho-Chunk representation. You guys just did such excellent work, and work that we continue to fold into our work at Metropolitan Council and implement. And, and one of the things you did, and originally I think this was going to be the ask from this group, but ultimately you came to writing our land, water, and people acknowledgement for the region. And it's really a beautiful one. It's more like an action statement, right? We expect you to do this, this, and this to reflect these Indigenous values in your policymaking. And I like that. And one of the things that acknowledges is that our 7-county metropolitan area here in Minneapolis-St. Paul is home to 150 different tribes, different recognized tribes, right? And it was so good to get that number, because I would often say 50 or 100. I didn't know. Now we know, right? 150 tribes live here in the Twin Cities. And so that's in our Land, Water, and People acknowledgement, that number. So a couple of weeks back, I was invited to be part of a roundtable at the American Indian Center here in Minneapolis that was convened by the Federal Reserve, the Minneapolis Federal Reserve. And there are like something like 12 regional Federal Reserve offices, and I think maybe another couple dozen branches. But Minneapolis is unique in that system, that we have what's called the Center for Indian Country Development, which is both reservation and tribal development and urban development. And so Kansas City Federal Reserve wanted to convene some urban Indian leadership here and just talk about how development looks here and what's successful, what works, what doesn't. And there were representatives from some other kind of center of the country. Oklahoma City Federal Reserve, I think, was represented, and others. And it was just a fascinating dialogue. And we shared a lot. I mean, we had a lot of the stellar leadership here that works in these areas. And I think these Federal Reserve representatives got more than they bargained for, right? But one of the things they had was a document they had generated that referenced the 50 tribes within Minnesota, right? There's 50 different tribes. And it was funny because then we were talking about Native visibility, Native invisibility, right? And I pulled that out as an example out of their own document. And I said, yeah, so through work we've done at Met Council, we've identified 150 different tribes just here in our metropolitan area. And I said, so with your number of 50, you just disappeared 100 tribes from our state. So it was a real life example of invisibility, of cultural colonization, elimination. So interestingly, the person who drafted that document was at this table. And he said, that was me. I, published that. He said, now I know better. If you can direct me to this research, we'll correct that, and it's kind of removed from maybe the work you thought you were doing when you serve on the Metropolitan Council, American Indian Advisory Council, but we were impacting federal perspective through that work. So I just want to point that out because it's kind of obscure, but it's very tangible, very real.
Yeah, and I think some of the information we got was from Minneapolis Public Schools that had a lot of that documentation, right?
Yep, that and most of the most of the nonprofits here maintain lists of different tribes, and but it's nice to have that 150 number. I use it all the time now. I do all the time.
And I heard too 75,000 in the Twin Cities Native Americans, and this is the largest I guess urban area in the United States now.
Oh, okay, interesting. I haven't seen that, but good to know and good to hear. And the other piece is that we are actually a growing community, right? And there's this kind of narrative that we're relegated to history and we're dying out, diminishing population, and that's not a fact. We're a growing population here in this country. As a matter of fact, one of the fastest growing populations.
Wow, that's really cool to hear, because I really believe that there's more of us that's been counted over the years. And I know with the census the last time, there was a big jump in the numbers, because I think a lot of people were more trusty of the government.
Right, agree. So counting at a census is hard, and you see these commercials on TV for that genetic testing, right? And they sometimes feature someone who learns that they're 26% Native American or 27%. And my husband would say, how could they not know? I mean, look at that person. You can tell they're Native. And I said, well, they're for, their generation or their parents, it was risky to identify as Native. I go, that is not an uncommon story in our community. And I always thought it was interesting that the numbers that they show on those ads are always just over 25%, right? So
Yeah.
they're aware of blood quantum and the debate and issues around blood quantum, But that's very common for people to not know that they're Native.
Right. Or myself, as you know, I'm an adoptee and not knowing what
Mhm.
tribe or how much and
Right.
how much I could say because I wasn't brought up in the community.
Right. And so yeah, it's not an uncommon story. And then these relatives who are just discovering their heritage, they have to find their way back to culture just like we do, right? And so
Right.
do we help them there, or do we resent them for passing for so long, or it's a complicated community?
It very much so is. And I appreciate you bringing this up again and the great work that you do in the Met Council and I guess the 17 other groups that you are involved with. Oh, wow.
Always my 17 titles, right?
Exactly. Hey, Robert, it's the end of the show. I really, really appreciate you.
My
Always a
pleasure.
great conversation and good words and a lot of fun and also a lot of seriousness involved. So, Peeny Gigi for all the work you do for the community and Peeny Gigi coming on.
Gigo Abin, that's always a pleasure.
All right. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll see you tomorrow.
Your heart beats for